In number 14, we're asked to find the domain of two compositions of functions. Remember, when we do this, we need to look at the domain of the input function as well as the domain of the composition of the two functions. And then we're going to choose the more restrictive domain as the domain for the problem. For part A, if we just look at g of x, the function for x, the domain does not need to be restricted at all. So it's all real numbers. If we look at f of g of x, then we're going to write out the f function as x plus the square root of x plus 8. And we're going to replace x with the g of x function so that we now have the square root of 4x plus 8. We do need to restrict the domain of a square root function because we can only take the square root of a positive number or 0. So let's set up 4x plus 8 and make sure that it's greater than or equal to 0. Solving for x, we get that x has to be greater than or equal to -2. This will be our domain for f of g of x. Now we need to do the same thing for part B. This is the function or the composition g of f of x. The input here is f of x, which is the square root of x plus 8. The domain, therefore, needs to be restricted such that x plus 8 is greater than or equal to 0. Solving for x, we get that x has to be greater than or equal to -8. Now, if we look at the domain for g of f of x, let's first do the composition. The g function is 4x. If we replace x with the f function, we'll get 4 times the square root of x plus 8. Our domain for g of f of x is exactly the same as it was for the input function f of x. X still needs to be greater than or equal to -8. This will therefore be the domain for the function.